It's America's coolest conservative and the future king of talk radio. 107.9 FM WBT presents The TJ Ritchie Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go. Time to bring it. Time to do it. And it's been a little bit of a dilemma here. We'll get into all that momentarily. First of all, you can call or text. If you want to be a part of it, you want to let somebody know what you think, then just call or text 704-570-1079. Texting is delivered and driven by and built by and sponsored by Liberty Buick GMC. So, another attempt on the president's life. Of course, that's what I'm going to be talking about. But, you know, I could sit here for the next 2 hours and I could play example after example after example of Democrat politicians, Democrat media people, Democrats in general being hypocritical, saying things that stir the weak-minded people in our country into a lather, making them want to kill. I could play example after example and say, see, this is what they do. See, this is what they do. But aren't we past that, ladies and gentlemen? Aren't we already past? I mean, this is the third attempt on President Trump's life alone, much less all of the other violence that happens within the Democrat Party and all of the stoking of the violence, all of the violent orders that are basically given by their leaders on high to these weak-minded people to go out and commit these violent acts. Is there really need at this point for us to keep going? Look at this proof. Listen to this proof. Here's the evidence. Here's the evidence. I mean, we know by now, don't we, that the Democrat Party is a terrorist organization for all intents and purposes? The people who run the Democrat Party are terrorists to a certain extent. We know they want the violence. We know they want blood in the streets. They've proven it time and time again. They call for it. They know exactly what they're saying when they go out in front of the TV cameras and say the most vile, vicious lies about the Republicans and Trump especially. They know what they're doing. Isn't it time that we just accept that the Democrat Party is now a violent extremist group? Now, I've known it for a long time, and I've treated them as such, and you should hear and see some of the hate that I get for it. But isn't it time that even the most, the most obtuse among us start to see, hey, yeah, the Democrats, that's a terrorist type mentality they have. Rile up the masses. Let's have more blood in the street. Burn down more things. As a matter of fact, get together and do it in huge groups. That's what the Democrats preach. That's what they do purposely. They send this message to the people they know who are the most weak-minded, the most vulnerable, and the most easily exploited. And then they have their useful idiots in the media and their useful idiots in show business and all of that. But the ones behind it, the masterminds behind what the Democrats stand for now, are doing exactly what they plan to do. This is the Democrat Party today. The guy who allegedly tried to kill the president and the cabinet again and his officials, it makes no sense to have him described as an extremist Democrat. He's a leftist extreme. No, he's not. He is not an extremist. He is an average Democrat in 2026. The guy who tried to kill the president in Butler, Pennsylvania, and killed the firefighter there with his family, he was an average Democrat in today's Democrat Party. Now, not to say that you can't be a mild Democrat. You can be. But if you are a Democrat and you're not what would have been considered an extremist 10 years ago, then you're not an average Democrat. The average Democrat today is what would be described as an extremist 10 years ago. A vile, disgusting, violent, uncivilized maniac is an average Democrat today. They are like cult members of violent cults. This is a violent cult, the Democrat Party. And there's no need to sit and point out hypocrisy. I've said that for a long time. Everybody knows by now that Democrats are hypocrites. They know it. Their friends in the media know it. The only people who don't know it are the gullible voters of the Democrat Party, the still gullible voters, the ones that we'll call mild Democrats, for lack of a better term at the moment. The mild Democrats are the only ones who don't know what the leaders in the Democrat Party are all about. And it's time we start treating them as such. The Democrat Party needs to be treated differently now. The Democrat Party needs to be fought on different terms. As Malcolm X said, we'd like to speak right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand. The Democrats need to be fought in a different way. They're dirty, nasty, violent creatures, the ones who run the Democrat Party, and they need to be treated as such. The best way you can get a message across is by turning the tables, and it's time we do that. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that Republicans need to go out and start trying to assassinate Democrat leaders, because we still are civilized. But we need to get in the gutter with them more. We need to slug it out. We need to fight on their terms. Talking about the leadership. Put them in their place. Because sitting around and just saying, look how hypocritical they are, is not doing anything. They know it. They're like, so? Big deal. So what? Yeah, we're hypocrites. We say one thing, but then we come back and do something else. Yeah, that's our game plan. That's what we do. That's what communists do. Duh. They're laughing. You think a single Democrat leader was upset that somebody tried to kill Trump again? Or do you think they high-fived each other? I think they high-fived each other. They're evil. This is what they want. And when you see all these people on social media, these crazy idiots who get on there trying to show off and show out and say, oh, they missed. Next time, don't miss. Yeah, those are the useful idiots. The Democrat leaders were really saying that, and they mean it. Trust me, they mean it. They're bloodthirsty. So, what's on your mind in regards to that? I want to know. What do you think we need to do? 704-570-1079 is the phone number. Let me know. What do you think we need to do to put down all of this? They're hypocrites, they're hypocrites, they're hypocrites. What's really going to work to get these evil commucrats in leadership to stop doing what they do? Now, again, don't call in here and start suggesting that we get violent with them. I'm not saying that. But we need to at least let them see how it feels to be lied about. But we don't even have to lie about them. They are disgusting. They are pieces of crap. They are evil. So what are we going to do? None of this that we're doing now is working. All right. So let's see what we can come up with. Again, don't call up in here and say we need to start shooting them. We don't need to start going after them in violence. Nothing like that. But what do we need to do? All right, we'll find out coming up next.
It's TJ, the green-eyed patriot on Charlotte's FM News Talk 107.9 WBT. He's Charlotte's most charmed and dangerous, always speaking the truth, whether you like it or not. It's TJ Ritchie on Charlotte's FM News Talk 107.9 FM WBT.
America's coolest conservative, lightning running through my veins. Ooh, this is unapologetic, in-your-face, courageous conservatism. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ripping. We got the ripping and the tearing going on here. This is a different kind of show. This is the kind of show where sometimes I don't even know where we need to go from time to time as far as which direction of subject matter on the show. So we just let that play out here. Because I'm one of you. I'm fed up. I'm frustrated. And to be honest with you, I am tired of pretending like Democrats are our equals. Because they're not. They are disgusting. Disgusting. Am I better than a Democrat? Hell yes. Anybody who is calling him or herself a Democrat now in 2026 as part of their profession, it has to have something wrong with them. You have to be a terrible person. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are or what office you hold or which office holder you work for. Because you know what the Democrat Party is about. There's no way you get a paycheck for being a Democrat. If being a Democrat is part of your job title, then you know what Democrats stand for. You know what Democrats are about. So there's no way that you're not a terrible person in my book. No way. Okay. So here's what I mean by turning the tables on these people. Let's take Jimmy Kimmel, for example. Jimmy Kimmel, the late night host, he used to be kind of cool. He used to be a cool guy. But he's turned into just a low-life piece of crap. Now, the thing is, is that he would still have everybody believe that he's this sweet guy. He's so sweet. And, he came out and now he's receiving a lot of heat again for a remark he made about, Melania Trump is glowing like an expectant widow before the latest attempt on President Trump's life by the average Democrat. Cole, whatever his name is. Here's what he said.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Okay, so Melania, the First Lady Melania Trump, she responded to that on the social medias. She went off on him. And then, of course, President Trump is calling for ABC to fire him and all of that. But here's what I think is going to happen. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about this yet, but I think if Jimmy Kimmel goes on tonight, he'll come on just like he did when he made jokes about Charlie Kirk's assassination and they called him out on it. He'll come out in his monologue and he'll start crying. I would never say, I wouldn't say anything that would, or I would never want anybody to die. I would never want anybody. He'll start crying. Oh, he's Mr. Soft-hearted, Mr. Sensitive. Jimmy Kimmel needs to be talked about in terms that he can understand. Stop calling for him to be fired. He's not going to get fired. He's got an ironclad contract. We've seen that, I don't think he should be fired. I don't. He's got a contract, and ABC knows what kind of person he is and what kind of things that he thinks are funny, and that he's turned into a political analyst, or just a political, a Democrat Marxist idiot spokesperson, and they know that. So they don't really have grounds to fire him, I wouldn't think, because they know what they got, But the peoples need to start speaking against Jimmy Kimmel in a way that shows him that people can be mean. Don't just say he's not funny. Don't just say this and that. But people need to start talking about Jimmy Kimmel as an evil tool of the communist movement in America, because that's what he is. Jimmy Kimmel is an evil tool of the communist American system called the Democrat Party, in my humble opinion. But that's the way people need to speak of him. Not Jimmy Kimmel comedian, not Jimmy Kimmel doofus. He's used to being called a doofus and being made fun of and all that, because I'm sure he was shoved in lockers when he was in high school and growing up and everything. But he needs to be talked about as if he is hated for being mean. Mean, rotten. And it's just one example. All of these people who act this way, they need to be spoken of and treated just like they treat who they consider to be their opponents. No Mr. Nice Guy, no cordial Republican. Oh, we don't engage in that type of, no. Jimmy Kimmel acts evil. Somebody should act evil to him. He needs to realize that he is hated. He's despised. He needs to be painted in a picture as if he is just a ruthless SOB, because it's what he is. He's a dirty, filthy, mudslinging politician with a big-ass head. A giant dome. So, I don't know how to get that going. I've got 11 listeners. I mean, I'm not, commanding some huge audience or anything. I'm just telling you what I would like to see happen and what I think would change the way they act. Turn the tables on them. Treat them the way they treat us. Treat them the way they treat other people. Jimmy Kimmel wants to be in politics. He wants to jump into the political sphere and fight. Fight him like a politician would be fought against. See, these entertainers have no idea how ruthless politics is. No idea. Let them feel it. Let them feel it. Not just at the box office or not just in their ratings. You see, with the celebrities in particular, they are like their entire existence depends on what people think about them. I mean, their existence as in emotionally. They can't handle being hated. They just can't. They're fragile creatures. They cannot handle being hated. Show them they're hated. Now, I know as a Christian, we're not supposed to hate, and they also use that against us. Let's do it this way then. As Christian people, we're not supposed to hate. So let's not hate, but let's pretend let's be actors like they are. Let's play the part of people who hate them. How does that work? I think that'll work just fine. All right, we're on to something here. 704-570-1079. Call if you got an idea. This is the TJ Ritchie Show. Hang on.
TJ, the realist Ritchie, on 107.9 WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk. Hear him on the radio and podcast. Watch him on YouTube. Like and subscribe to all social media platforms at tjritchie.com and WBT.com. Now, back to TJ Ritchie on 107.9 FM WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk.
America's coolest conservative. I am your ever-loving leader. On the air, everywhere, bringing courageous conservatism into your homes and cars. And I am just a big chunk of sweet white chocolate. That's all. That is all. All right. I know a lot of you are strictly radio listeners, and you don't keep up with all the podcasters and everything. So, I'm going to catch you up on something here. There is a podcaster who is just an evil SOB, and his name is Hassan Piker. Now, Hassan Piker was born in U.S. America and raised in Egypt. Egypt is the place to be. Egypt. And he is an American citizen because he's an anchor baby. And he has a very successful podcast. And he is full of hate and rage. He is he brags about 9/11. He has been talking about how great 9/11 was since 9/11. He's vile. He is a communist, Islamist, Marxist, every other ist that you can throw at him that makes him a bad piece of crap. He calls for violence. Just as a quick example, this is one of his famous quotes from his stupid podcast. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Listen.
My understanding is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
He's also said things like gut them, shank them, talking about, quote unquote MAGA and leaders in the Republican Party. Now, here's the thing. Why am I talking about this podcaster? Well, he's not just a podcaster. He is the new darling of the Democrats. Not the extremists, the Democrats as they are, which are extremists, but they're average now. Glowing articles and interviews with him in the New York Times. Senate candidates going on his podcast and embracing him, loving him. He also says that the what's his name? The United Healthcare CEO that was murdered, that was justified. Now, he was raised a rich brat. He was also a fat nerd kid who probably had no friends growing up. But he had a rich family, and he has an uncle that's in some sort of a broadcasting or show business or something in America, gave him a job, and now he's lost weight, he lifts weights, he pretends to be cool, and he thinks he's a badass. So he goes around talking like this all the time. But I know, and you know if you've been around very long, that he's still just a little nerdy fat kid at heart. And he's playing the part of somebody who's cool. He's pretending to be cool. He's pretending to be a badass. And he's just nothing but a weak, insecure child. Because I bet you he would not talk that way face to face with somebody that he just comes across. Some quote unquote MAGA person that he's standing face to face with, mano a mano, he wouldn't say that stuff. He would not say to someone from, I don't know, Dothan, Alabama. Just pick a town. Dothan, Alabama. Some guy gets off work, goes down to some book signing. After the book signing, he says, "Hey, are you Hassan Piker?" The guy says, "Yeah." Say that to my face. I'm MAGA. Say that to my face what you say about MAGA people. He'd probably pee in his pants. There are a lot of them like that. There are a lot of these nerds, these dweebs that get on these podcasts and they try to talk all tough and act like they're just, like they would shank somebody or they're going to do something or you should go out there and do something. He's a multi-millionaire like all these other Marxists and preaches against capitalism, preaches against people having money, except he does it in a way where he acts like, that he's a badass. That's all it is. And I say somebody needs to call him on it to his face. Not another intellectual, quote unquote, but a regular person, regular guy, Mr. Dothan, Alabama. Just to see what he would do. Just to see if he's, now I'm sure he has security out the wazoo. But I would like to see what his response would be if he's just face to face with some regular American patriot, somebody who loves this country, somebody who doesn't want some nerd, dweeb, rich kid from Egypt coming over here and talking down about us or trying to change everything about the United States to where it's not a free country anymore. That's the most irritating thing is when the foreigners come over here and start trying to change everything to fit their way of life. No, we've been feeding the world and we've been the best country for a long, long time. Now, I know some of you, or at least one, has written in and said, I'm not acting like a Christian. Well, That's a dilemma, isn't it? We all fall short, don't we? From time to time. I'm sure you, as a conservative Christian, those who are, telling me I'm not acting like a conservative Christian, I'm sure there are times when you don't act like a conservative Christian. I just happen to be on the radio doing it. And that's my point. I'm not a slick, polished broadcaster. I'm a man. I'm a patriot. I'm a person that has concerns. Sure, I like to be funny. I like to cut up. I like to be, a clown a lot of times. But our country is in a desperate state right now. It's at a breaking point. And believe me, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the person who can tell everybody how to live their lives or how to follow, how to save our country and then stay within the bounds of what a Christian should be acting like. I know I'm not that person. I'm just a guy on the radio telling you how I see things and hoping that everybody here understands when, that we're all flawed in our way of thinking sometimes. I'm just sick of this. I'm sick of these, because there's no disputing the fact that those people are evil on the other side. They're evil. Now, how we fight that evil in a political arena is where we need the work. So if you've got a suggestion as to how we fight that kind of political evil and still remain within our Christian bounds, I'd love to hear it. But right now, all I can do is look at what the evil is and figure out, hey, we've got to stop this evil. And this Hassan Piker is one of the most evil that we have in public life today. Trust me on that. Trust me. He needs to be challenged and he needs to be faced with his own rhetoric. He needs to have to face down somebody who's just as nasty as he is, but for the good side. Because I believe he's weak. He's that type. He's weak. He's insecure. He's miserable. He's a lonely, lonely soul with nothing of a legacy that he can look on at someday and go, that's what I created. That's what I left behind. That's what I did. Because communists don't have that. All communists have is hate. Hate, and their legacy is the minds of the people that they've infiltrated, that they left in a trail. Like some of these people that text me in here every night. These stupid, idiotic people. And you know who you are. That's the kind of legacy that American communists have. That's what they're going to leave behind. A trail of stupid people. I just don't want the stupidity to mess the rest of us up. Hang on. More coming up.
The TJ Ritchie Show is on. More next on Charlotte's FM News Talk 107.9 WPT. Text everybody in your contacts list and tell them that Ritchie's on. Welcome back to the TJ Ritchie Show on Charlotte's FM News Talk 107.9 FM WPT.
Welcome back. America's coolest conservative. On the air everywhere. You can fade this out. Go ahead, take it out. Thank you. It's a hard one, ladies and gentlemen. It's difficult because these people on the left, these lunatics, if we're looking at it from a, and I have been scolded tonight by the Christians. I've been scolded. And I know they're right when they're biblical about it and how we should be treating these people even though they're evil and how Jesus treated them and all that. And you know what? Let me say this. I appreciate when somebody is going to disagree with me or the way that I'm acting from a biblical standpoint and all that, to do it in a nice way. Because you always get these, and you call yourself a Christian. How can you call yourself a Christian? I liked you up until this point, but how can you call yourself a Christian? That's obviously, I'm not getting in an argument on text with these people, but obviously, how can they call themselves a Christian by acting that way toward me? The Christian way to do it is civilly, and you just say, hey, you may be a little confused, or let me help you a little bit here, which is what some people are doing, and I appreciate it. Like this fellow Wayne, who's texted in here. But let me give you an example here. We all know. I mean, it's a commonly known fact now that Democrats in power in this country do not like America, the way that it was founded and the way that it is. Everybody knows that. Mark Levin wrote a book, the great Mark Levin wrote a book called The Democrat Party Hates America, and it was dead on right. But nobody wanted to say it. I think that is his. I mean, it was still a successful book, but I think he sold the least amount of copies, I think, of that book than others because of the title of it. Like some bookstores didn't even want to put it out. This is The Democrat Party Hates America was the title of it. But it was true, and it is true. And so by now, everybody knows that. Because how can you love a country that all you talk about is how much you want to change it, how rotten it is? People are hateful, and the rich run everything, and like Obama's famous for saying, want to fundamentally transform America. Obama, that's another story. But I mean, listen to Hakeem Jeffries talking about the assassination, the latest assassination attempt on President Trump's life. Listen to this.
I think it's going to be important for all of us, whether that's the president, the cabinet, members of Congress, people in the Senate, governors, state and local elected officials all across the country, to do the best that we can to set the most appropriate example. Again, to disagree with each other strongly when necessary, to battle it out in the public sphere of ideas, but to make sure that we respect the opposition in terms of those disagreements that are anchored in principle, and also to make clear that everybody, whatever your ideological perspective is, we all love America. And we all want to make sure that this country is the best that it can possibly be, particularly as we approach the 250th birthday on July 4th, and work hard together to make the next 250 years even better than the first.
Your buddy Al Sharpton is telling black people they shouldn't even celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States because it's so rotten. you fellow New Yorker. Now, does anybody, even Democrats, do Democrats even believe that Hakeem Big Sleepy Jeffries, Mr. Indica, that he loves America? Anybody? Does anybody believe that he just wants to debate people on ideas, as he says? Really? Come on. I mean, this is a group of people who have called the president a pedophile, a rapist, and a Nazi. And why? Do they really believe he's a racist, Nazi, pedophile, rapist? No, they don't. I guarantee you, if you put those Democrat leaders on a lie detector machine, a polygraph, and you said, do you believe the president is a Nazi? And they said yes, the thing would go nuts. Do you believe that he is a racist? Yes. It'd go crazy. Do you believe he's a pedophile? You'd go down the line. They would fail the lie detector test. As a matter of fact, why doesn't somebody suggest that one of these people that calls him that take the lie detector test? Say, hey, do you really believe that about the president? And they say, yes, I do. No, I bet you don't. Take a lie detector test, and I bet you don't really believe that. So if they don't believe it, why do they say it? Why do they say it if they don't believe it? Because they want to rile up the weak-minded Democrat foot soldiers to get rid of him. Get rid of him, not just politically. That's not good enough for them. They want him ruined in prison or worse. All right, next hour coming up. Hang on.
He's America's coolest conservative and the future king of talk radio. 107.9 FM WBT presents The TJ Ritchie Show.
All right, here we go. Hour 2, ladies and gentlemen, on a weird Monday night. 704-570-1079. That is the phone number. 704-570-1079. Look, the Democrats in the media, they always want to come out and do this one thing. Every time some crazed Democrat commits an act of violence, they try to equate Republicans and Democrats, say both sides need to simmer down. The rhetoric needs to stop on both sides of the aisle. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. Hate and rhetoric and violence is on one side. Just like racism is on one side. That is the Democrat side. And it's pretty simple. You can look at it and go, okay, which side is nasty, evil liars? The Democrat side. So everything else, anything bad that comes out of politics is usually from that side. It would only make sense. It's who they are. It's their their DNA. There's a representative from California who happens to be, I believe, the representative of the district where the accused attempted assassin is from. Representative Ted Rue of California. This is what California Representative Ted Rue said about President Trump. Listen.
Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files.
Ted Rue. And that was part of the manifesto of the accused assassin, would-be assassin. So, now let me tell you how maybe they get around, like Ted Rue gets around being sued for liability, defamation, by saying those things about President Trump. Because there are pages and pages, when they say of the Epstein files, anybody who ever called the tip line about Epstein got put into the Epstein files. And they know that. I could have called the hotline for the Epstein tip line and said, California Representative Ted Rue said he wanted to rape children and kill people on Epstein Island. That goes in the files. So then I could come back and go, hey, Ted Rue's name is in the Epstein files, where he was saying he wanted to kill children and rape people. It wouldn't be a lie, because it is in the files. And it does say that. So that's how you get out of liability, I guess. So listen again.
Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files.
So you see. Oh, but that doesn't have anything to do with it. Oh, no. No. The fact that the manifesto for the guy read pretty much word for word what Ted Rue said. I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. I'm not the fisherman executed without trial. I'm not a school kid, grown up, or a child starved, or a teenage girl abused by the many criminals in this administration. But we gotta calm down the rhetoric on both sides, you see. On both sides. That's how they play it. And that's why they staged January 6th the way they did, the Democrats. Because they had to have an issue, because they knew that Black Lives Matter, Antifa, all those riots and all that uprising and everything was all Democrat. So they had to come up with something to say, well, Republicans are just as guilty. You got January 6th, and then they even tried that with Charlottesville, knowing now what we know about Charlottesville. But one of the things that they always skate by and skirt over is the fact that white supremacy groups are Democrats, always have been. So when they used Charlottesville and they staged that whole thing, they manufactured it. Everybody assumed they were just a bunch of Democrats, or should have. My point is that the hate is always on their side. Always. And why is that? Because the principles of the Democrat Party are anti-American. The operation manual of the Democrat Party is anti-American. It's anti-individual liberty. It's anti-capitalism, anti-free enterprise. It's anti-American across the board. It's pro top-down, iron-fisted, centralized government control. And they're out of the closet with it now. And as I've said before, I know it's infuriating to see these foot soldiers for the Democrat Party, the ones that have been brainwashed and the ones that have been manipulated and all that. It's frustrating to see them take to the streets and act like uncivilized idiots. But to a certain extent, you feel kind of sorry for them because they have allowed themselves, or they've shown the mental weakness to be brainwashed by the Democrat leadership, the anti-American Democrat leadership. And the sad part about it is that we on the right, we realize how blessed we are to live in this country and the wonderful opportunities that we have and everything. The Democrat Party robs people of that ability. It robs people of their ability to desire individual greatness. And if you really want to show some compassion, you feel sorry for these idiots who don't get it, who have been just completely lobotomized by the Democrats in leadership. You think of how many lives these people have ruined just simply by making them believe that they have no hope. Democrats rob people of hope. They convince people to settle for whatever we as the mighty Democrats allow you to have. And while you're settling, go out there in the streets and fight for us. It's insane. It's insane. Now you got this guy. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison, hopefully, if he's found guilty. For what? He's a smart guy, or was. As far as, book sense or what have you, he's an engineer. And he allowed his mind and his emotions to take over. Well, he allowed his emotions to take over his mind. And I assume he's an effeminate guy. I don't know why. I guess I assume that because he's a liberal and he voted for Kamala. So you would automatically assume that he's feminine. And the fact that he's so easily emotionally manipulated into doing something like this, I don't know. All right, I got to take a break. More coming up. Hang on.
The realest your radio has ever been. TJ Ritchie is on Charlotte's FM News Talk 107.9 WPT. 11 listeners strong and holding. It's the TJ Ritchie Show on 107.9 FM. Charlotte's FM News Talk WPT.
Unapologetic, in-your-face conservatism. I am America's coolest conservative. Yes. The most famous and legendary active radio personality in Charlotte. Okay, so we had another attempt on the president's life. By the way, 704-570-1079 is the phone number. You can call or text thanks to Liberty Buick GMC. And don't forget about News and Brews. It is Tuesday, May 12th at Heist Brewery and Barrel Arts. You can come and listen to and possibly talk with members of the WBT Air Team, as they're called. The Air Team. In Top 40 Radio, we call them personalities. Like you'd say, the WBT personalities or on-air personalities. I guess it's different in talk radio. News talk, the Air Team. And I guess so, because you got news people. They're not personalities. They're news people. They're not entertainers. They're news people, which is cool. So it's fun. I went to the one last year, the latest one. And you can get tickets and all that information at WBT.com for WBT's News and Brews. Now, I found this clip of Bill Maher's podcast. And Bill Maher has this show on HBO and all that. But then what people are doing now is they double up and they do a podcast, because there's a lot of money in podcasts if you have the proper backing and you have a studio behind you and all of that kind of stuff. It's basically just like having another TV show. Even Sean Hannity is doing a podcast now outside of his radio show and TV show. Now he does a podcast. I know Sean Hannity. He's a good guy. So I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying everybody's doing them. So Bill Maher has this podcast. It's pretty interesting. He brings stupid celebrities on there a lot, and then they talk about it. And Bill Maher is a liberal. He's an old school liberal. So I don't freak out if he says something that I agree with and go, oh, we got Bill Maher now. Did you hear? Even Bill Maher says. I don't ever play that game. Celebrities or Hollywood people, they're still liberals. They're not going to do us any good. All they're going to do sometimes is point out how crazy the extreme of their party is. He's never going to vote for a Republican. So I'm not going to start acting like he's on my side on anything. But this is interesting to hear him talking to who is a complete idiot named David Cross. And David Cross is a funny guy when he's playing the part of someone else. He plays the part of, he's one of the best at playing the part of the comedic slimeball. He played on Arrested Development. He was on that show. He's the bald guy with the big giant glasses, and he plays, usually a nerdy, slimy character, like I said. And he is funny when he's playing a part. He's not funny in real life. He's one of the stupid idiots. He used to be comedy partners with Bob Odenkirk, who plays Saul on Better Call Saul. They used to be a comedy team. But just listen to this conversation on Bill Maher's podcast and how this goes. And this is the mind of your typical Hollywood lunatic. And Bill Maher, just being the regular old school liberal, comes off as the normal one. Okay? Listen, it's crazy.
To be checked. People need to be checked.
I think they'll be...
including your little girl.
Okay.
She needs to be checked. I don't know.
That little with her black friends and trans friends and not even understanding. She doesn't know.
Wait, she has trans friends in third grade?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, they know they're trans in third grade.
I knew one of her friends. I knew when he was a girl.
How old?
Just listen to how idiotic this sounds. Try to keep up with it. Just try to keep up with where it goes, how he's trying to explain it. I'm sorry to interrupt.
I think just turned 9 and is just the coolest kid. I think
boy to girl, girl to boy?
Girl to boy.
Girl to boy. Okay.
And she has another very close friend who's not in this school, but who's boy to girl. at 3.
But
At 3
girl
years
to
old.
boy, I mean, I knew somebody who said to me, actually more than one person who said to me, a woman said, I was what they called a tomboy. If I was alive now and acted the way I did then, that's what they would have done to me.
Well, nobody's doing this to her.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
literally, nobody is doing this to her.
how old?
She is, or he is, either 8 or I think 9.
Okay,
Just
then
turned 9.
somebody is doing something because 8 or 9-year-olds can't.
No, you know what they're doing?
Can't do anything on their own.
No, they're buying them boys' clothes.
Well,
and-
then they're doing something. They're doing.
Sure, yes, you're right. They're buying them boys' clothes.
And telling them you're a boy now.
No, they're not telling them. They're just agreeing with. They're like going.
Well, they're
okay,
agreeing
honey.
with an 8-year-old because when has their judgment ever been off at 8?
You knew
Anyway,
you weren't gay, right?
That's.
It's not different.
It is different.
No, it isn't.
It's okay. Good luck with President Vance, because as I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost. And this is a case of that.
Wait, what?
We voted for the same person.
Right.
You're just why she lost. Because America hears this, and they're going to go, Bill's right. 8-year-olds can't really make decisions on their own like this. That's what most people are going to say. And this is where the Democrats are, with David Cross living in Brooklyn, with Mandami Loving. And this is why, we're going to vote for J.D. Vance, and that's.
I don't think
that's
it's
America in a nutshell.
I don't.
Doesn't mean I don't love you.
He still doesn't get it. I mean, Bill Maher made it pretty simple. He broke it down, I think, pretty well. He could have rephrased it a little bit. He could have said, we voted for the same person, but you're the reason she lost, rather than the way he said it. Would have gotten over, I think, a little better. But another point, you see right there, they're going to vote for the same person, no matter what. Bill Maher's not ever going to vote for somebody who doesn't think that 8-year-olds should be transitioned. Doesn't sound like. But do you hear this moron that he's talking to? This idiot? This psycho? An 8-year-old all of a sudden says, I'm a boy. It's a girl, and you say I'm a boy, or vice versa, and they know. Nobody's done anything. First of all, he's sitting there, and he's 62, and he has a 3rd grader, but he looks 82 sitting there, just like old, long gray beard, just freak looking guy. And looks like some crazy, off kilter old man saying that an 8-year-old can change their sex, and they know that they're a member of the opposite sex. You see how baffling that is to sit and look at somebody and go, okay, we're the same species. You and I are the same species, and you think you're superior intellectually when you're stupid. I wish I could come up with a better word for it, but it's just stupid. These people are nuts. But you know what else is nuts? Bill Maher knows that it's crazy. Bill Maher knows that these people are out of their minds, and that the people they support cater to them and believe the same way, and he's still going to vote for them. Rather than have to look at himself and go, oh my God, I'm going to have to vote for a Republican. I just can't bring myself to do it. I just can't. Well, so to me, he's just as crazy. If you know it's screwed up and you continue to do it, when you can look at them and go, he's screwed up. No, but I'm still going to vote the way he does. What? They're all just a bunch of weirdo freaks. All those celebrities are freaks. Ugh. All right, hang on. We got more coming up.
It's the TJ Ritchie Show on 107.9 WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk. Night has fallen, and the Green-Eyed Patriot is on the air. It's the TJ Ritchie Show on Charlotte's FM News Talk, 107.9 FM, WBT.
Unapologetic in-your-face conservatism with America's coolest conservative. 704-570-1079. That is the number. I am so glad to be here and so glad you are here. I've got an article from People Magazine here that's not just from my home state of Louisiana, but it is actually in the area of Louisiana that I am from, like the region. Most people think, oh, you're from Louisiana, you're a Cajun. No, not the case. Louisiana has 3 separate cultures. From the middle of the state up, North Louisiana is more just regular southern, rural kind of people, like the Duck Dynasty people. Not all rednecks, but, I guess that's the way the rest of the country would describe us. And then below the middle of the state is Cajun, and then New Orleans is its own separate culture. So 3 cultures in Louisiana. I'm from the north part of the state. This story comes from right in the exact middle in a little town called Pineville. My wife is from Alexandria, and that is the twin city to Pineville. It's just across the river. Here's the story from People Magazine. Roadkill was found in the freezer of a Chinese restaurant in Louisiana, but the establishment's owners claim it was never meant to be served to diners. A since-deleted Facebook post Wednesday, April 22nd, accused Pineville restaurant China Queen of skinning a dead animal behind the restaurant, and the post reportedly included a photo of the act, and that is according to KALB, Fox 19, and WKRG. That means it got wall-to-wall. All the news stations covered it. After the Pineville Police Department received complaints related to the Facebook post, officers were dispatched to the establishment. There, they found a deer carcass stored in a freezer alongside other food. A spokesperson for the Pineville PD told People Magazine in a statement, quote, the individual stated he located the deer along a roadside at approximately 10 a.m. that morning and believed it to be roadkill from a vehicle strike the previous night. He further stated the meat was intended for use in soup. However, officers on scene were unable to determine whether the meat was intended for personal consumption or for service to restaurant patrons. While the consumption of deer is common in Louisiana, state law prohibits the possession of roadkill without prior authorization from law enforcement. Additionally, improper handling and storage of wild game can pose serious public health risks due to rapid bacterial growth. Then it goes on to say, Louisiana Department of Health and the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries have both launched investigations into the situation. The Pineville Police Department remains committed to ensuring the safety of our citizens and visitors and blah, blah, blah. Chinese restaurant later posted a notice on the door apologizing. The item involved was never intended to be served to customers, but it was improperly stored. It has been fully cleaned and sanitized. We are cooperating with health authorities and have corrected our procedures to ensure this does not happen again. Thank you for understanding. And my question is, when did Louisiana get so soft? It's a deer. Somebody ran over a deer. The people own the restaurant. They have a big freezer. They were able to salvage the meat and store it in their big freezer. Come on. I guarantee you nobody in Pineville, Louisiana said, "Oh God, did you hear what happened at the China Queen? They had a deer. They had skinned a deer and dressed it and had it in their freezer. We can't eat there." Not a single person in Pineville, Louisiana said that. I guarantee you that. Not one, unless it's some Yankee liberal that's been moved into town. The only thing would be, having a deer this time of year. Deer season is in the fall and the winter. You never hear much about people eating deer in the heat. I don't know if that makes a difference in the meat or what. I just know that we never did it. Now, I don't agree with, obviously I don't run around scraping up roadkill and thinking it's okay. I don't agree with just finding a deer and then guessing as to when it was killed on the road. I'm not in favor of that. Now, if you saw it be run over and you say, "Hey, that just happened. I watched it happen. Might as well not let it go to waste," that's a different story. But you're supposed to call them and say, "Hey, I just saw somebody run over a deer out here in the middle of Highway 28. I don't know if that's where it was, but Pineville's one of their main roads is Highway 28, so I'll use that as an example. Highway 28 in Pineville. Again, if you just joined us, we're talking about Pineville, Louisiana, not Pineville, North Carolina. Hey, I'm calling the laws. Laws, I just seen somebody run over a deer out here in the middle of Highway 28 East. Can I get it? They say, "Well, you hold on a minute. We're going to send the deputy out there, and we're going to see what's going on." And the deputy's going to come out there, and he's going to look at it, and he's going to say, "Hang on a minute, I got to call the damn game warden." And they're going to get on the horn with the game warden. They're going to say, "Hey, Rusty." I use the name Rusty because the fella I went to school with, I'm from kindergarten on through high school, and big game warden there. I don't know if that's his territory, but I think he's over the whole area. So I'm going to say, "Rusty, somebody done run over a damn deer out here in the middle of Highway 28 East. Old Rayford wants to get it. Said he saw him hit it. Don't want it to go to waste. It's all right if he takes us home." And he'd be, "All right, okay. All right, you too. Thank you. Thank you. All right, you same. All right, bye-bye." He says, "All right, you can take it." Except it wouldn't have been Rayford. It would have probably been, Wang. Wang then said he seen somebody hit the deer. That he got a freezer big enough to store it in. He can take it there right now. "All right, Wang," he said, "you can have that damn deer." But hold on. If they would have called and said, "Hey, I just saw somebody run over a deer out here," to the game warden and say, "Hey, there's a deer that just got run over. Somebody needs to come get it out of the road." Game warden would have come out, picked it up, put it in the back of their truck, taken it to a needy person and said, "Hey, I got you a deer." Right there. Boom. You know what that person would have done? They'd said, "Thank you. God bless you, Rusty, for bringing me that deer." But because they didn't follow the proper channels and they happened to just put it in the freezer of a restaurant, now everybody's up in arms about it. People need to just relax. Too much government interference is what I'm saying. Too much. And I would dare say that if anybody in that area of Pineville, Louisiana found out that the Chinese restaurant was serving deer, they would have been all about it. They go, "Hey, they putting that on the buffet. I'm going to get there early." But pretty sure you can't sell deer meat like that in a restaurant. Again, just another government loophole or whatever. There's too many government intrusion. Seems to me like if the people want it, the restaurant can get it. They ought to sell it. Let them have it. Okay. Just thought you'd like a little break from the serious issues for a minute. You're welcome. Hang on, more coming up.
TJ Ritchie on Charlotte's FM News Talk 107.9 FM WBT. If you're an emotionally fragile liberal and would like to complain to WBT management about TJ, don't waste your time. They don't like him much either. Back to the TJ Ritchie Show on 107.9 FM WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk.
All right, here we are. Last segment, ladies and gentlemen. It's been kind of a crazy night. Ups and downs, a lot of drama. You know, that tends to happen when somebody tries to assassinate the president. 704-570-1079. That's the phone number. Call it or text it. Texting, thanks to Liberty Buick GMC. There's a big article in the New York Post, aka The Postie. And listen, I get it. I get that reporters have to write what they have to write. And if you're going to do a story, you got to give all the details and everything. But this is a story about Asheville, North Carolina. And the whole thing is just like I can scroll and scroll and scroll. It's a long article. And it is explaining what happened to Asheville. The headline reads, once charming U.S. mountain escape has transformed into nasty, crazy, and scary city. And in the story, they interview a man named Carl Mumpower, a private practice clinical psychologist, lifelong Asheville resident, and former city council member who served from 2001 to 2009. And the city's said the city's current challenges stems from decisions made over decades. Now, they go into homelessness, and Hurricane Helene is the latest thing that's dropped a bunch of homelessness and, you know, drug users and this, that, and the other. And again, I know it all makes sense. But they could have summed it up in maybe one paragraph. You say, what happened to Asheville? And in that one paragraph, you can just basically say, Asheville has been ruined by unfettered liberalism, leftism, Marxism. Because leftists mess up everything. There's no need to go into a big detailed description. Just say it's like every other city that is run completely by unchecked liberalism. It's in the toilet. I get people who ask me all the time why I talk so much crap about Charlotte. I say, why do you hate Charlotte? And it's the opposite. I don't hate Charlotte. I love Charlotte. I love what Charlotte was and could still be if it weren't for the takeover of trashy liberals running everything. Trashy liberals have ruined the great city of Charlotte. The once great city of Charlotte has been ruined by trashy liberal leadership. Before Charlotte was taken over by liberalism completely, it was a shining example of what a big city could be and still be safe, still be fun. I went to a Charlotte Checkers game Saturday night. I went to the playoff game. And I sat there, and as the game was starting and all the fanfare and everything, I thought, you know what? This is so cool. It's so cool to be in a city that's big enough to where I could go to a hockey game one night. I could be at a professional baseball game the next night. I could be at a play the next night. I can be at a fine restaurant. We can do all of these things in a beautiful city that has so much opportunity and so much beauty. That's what I used to feel when I first moved to Charlotte. Going to Hornets games, going to Panthers games, just going out in the city to the restaurants and being able to walk from this place to that place and not have to worry about getting killed. So it's not that I hate Charlotte, it's that I love Charlotte and I hate what's been done to it by the liberals who run it. And I'm sure the people of Asheville feel the same way, only they're way worse. Asheville is just trash all the way around. I mean, it is disgusting. It stinks. Asheville stinks like New Orleans. And you know what? When I would go places traveling for work in other states, or when I would go back home and, you know, I'd tell people I live in North Carolina, they would say something, oh, well, I've been to Asheville. What a beautiful city that, oh my God, how great is that little town? They would talk about Asheville like it was just a little piece of utopia. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you get to live close to Asheville. If they were there now and saw it, they'd throw up. It's a toilet, and it smells like a toilet, which is a waste. And the reason why is because Democrats ruin everything. It's just that simple. You want something to be run in the ground and ruined and destroyed, put a bunch of Democrats in charge of it. That's the recipe for disaster. Every single time. Every time. Put a bunch of Democrats in charge of it, and they will ruin it. Because Democrats are just a destructive people. And there's no evidence to the contrary. I'm sorry, there isn't. I forgot what they said that the last time I guess it was this psychologist guy. They said liberal Democrats and those with extreme view, the lack of balance. The last conservative on the council was in 2009 in Asheville. So there's no way it cannot be trashy. When the last conservative you had was 2009 and we're in 2026, it's impossible for it not to be a dump. Ugh. You know, Pete Callender used to live there. The great Pete Callender. Thank goodness he doesn't have any of it left on him, though. Ugh. All right, that's it for tonight. Nick Craig is coming up next. God loves you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. I'll talk to you tomorrow night. Take care.